who wants to be involved in. Hi, everybody. Let's see if I'm going to get us on here. Should come on here.
We usually try to hop on Fridays, but
we were busy.
Yeah,
Christmas.
Busy. And we have
these guys.
Black Friday shopping and all that great stuff.
Busy. And now we're upstairs.
Hi, it's nice to have everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Here.
Welcome to our.
Nice and bright in here.
It's really bright. What do we do about the bright?
But there's a Christmas tree. We have it all.
There's our Christmas tree.
Out,
it's a little extra high.
Really excited.
And this is our newly painted house. We painted everything except the closets and the trim and the doors.
Yes.
Right.
One of a bit
I think
of
we can go down a little bit. How's that? I don't know if we're going to get too many people here because everyone's everyone's eating too much turkey.
They're doing their own thing. They're hopefully celebrating with family.
Oh, who? Oh my God, it's Kim. Hi, Kim. You are Kim's just like, I'm here.
No, I don't have my glasses on, so hopefully
do you want me to get you some glasses?
I can read properly. No, I'm going to try and wing it. I'll just hang it.
Happy Thanksgiving to all of you.
Yes,
hi,
happy
Kim.
Thanksgiving to everyone. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Happy
Hi,
Thanksgiving.
Believing Rebel. Hi, Soulful Music 100. Happy Thanksgiving from Ireland.
Hi. Soulful Music 100. Do you have like stuff on your channel? We're always willing, right, to give people plugs.
Yes.
You know, because it's hard starting off. We've even got like the Canadian channel starting off. It is hard.
Sharon. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Hi, Mark.
It all starts, It's all starting
Soulful
now.
Music says no. LOL.
Oh, okay. But you like something.
Oh, notification work on phone. Right. Yes, if you have your notifications on, then you
Oh, is that Kim?
Yes.
Yeah. I have some cooking Canadian ladies that I have.
Hi, Tim. Hi, Mike. Sorry,
hi, Tim. Hi, Mike.
Anybody.
No, of course not. Happy.
How long? Mike asked, how long has the tree been decorated? Did everyone help? Okay.
Her birthday's on.
I did the tree all by myself.
Of November.
And I did the tree all by myself. I kind of did it in 2 increments because I'm not joking. I have a couple hundred ornaments on the tree. So it was an event, let me tell you that.
It's the best tree yet, though. It's pretty big. How tall is the tree? 8 feet?
Yep, just shy of 8 feet. Mm. Hi, John. Hello from NC, North Carolina.
North Carolina?
James. Hi, Shannon. John.
Hello, everybody.
And we've got Getty. Thanks. This year, Canadian Thanksgiving coincided with National Coming Out Day, October 11th.
Really? Cool.
Hi, Tim P.
Tim P's been on here before.
Tree looks great. Thank you very much. I'm very pleased. A little festive. I've got, you can't tell right now, behind us I have a little kind of a nice gold peace sign with a kind of vintage angel in the back.
Where?
Over there.
Am I right? Am I in the place?
Yeah. Right in that area there.
There we go. This is like a one big open space. One of the reasons we've got, I sound like Christmas on one big open space.
Oh my gosh, you've got this right in my face.
Right in your face.
Like, right in my face.
Shannon and I took a picture the other day. We were shopping, and I said, "But did you put?" Because she never puts any. Shannon doesn't like her picture taken for one thing.
I'm not a big picture taker.
And then
it's not my thing.
And I take a lot more pictures, and I look like a boot. But you didn't put any. She never puts filters on anything, and I put a few filters. Not on the videos. Like you can't. I don't know how to put filters on videos. There are ways, but I don't know.
There's like so many different apps you can get to do that sort of thing. You can just sort of reinvent your whole look if you want to by a touch of a button.
Yeah. Booger churn.
Benjamin asks, what is coming out day?
What is it?
Yes.
Coming out, out of the closet.
Yes.
That kind of thing. Growing up, and you probably had some people too, where we had like the token like gay guy and we always knew, and we didn't call him anything. We just thought, his name was Greg, and Greg's still friends with mine. Greg was like the nicest guy, and all the women loved Greg. And back then, we never really thought of it. You have all those awful stories about growing up. And I mean, I can't speak for Greg, obviously. I know Greg had a tough time growing up at times because he wanted to come out and he couldn't. But everyone loved him, and no one judged him. But that had, I don't know what it was. Maybe it was Greg. But we never had those stories in my small town. And when I see those stories in a movie or something like that, I can relate to it. I go, oh yeah, I can understand. That would be tough. But we didn't have a lot of that. What about you and yours?
Not.
Well, you grew up in the 80s, though. People are starting to come around, I think, a lot more of accepting people's lifestyles. Don't you think?
Now anything goes. Anything goes.
Anything?
Getty says, even though it may not be the best of times, we all have blessings in our lives to be thankful for.
Thank you.
Couldn't agree with you more. We were actually just talking about COVID, and they were talking about another variant coming out, and we just kind of sat back and went, oh. But yes, a ton to be thankful for. Couldn't agree with you more.
We got a little homesick tonight because we moved across the country. I mean, that's a big move. And then we looked at each other and said, well, what did we miss? I mean, we couldn't see our friends anyway. And some of our friends, we sort of, you know how it is when you're staying in the same place, you move away from each other a little bit in just a normal kind of way. But yeah, wherever it's like that song, wherever I lay my hat, it's my home. I
agree, Ben. Yeah, people were a lot more accepting. He said when I was growing up in the 90s.
Oh yeah. I mean, you still have horror stories. I still hear from people sometimes whose parents won't talk to them, and it depends where they grew up, and there's a lot of traditional values still going on, and I can understand that.
Tim P is asking, what do you guys think of the Massey Hall renovations, and have you ever
Massey Hall.
And have you ever seen a concert there? Sorry,
no.
Glasses.
No. I passed by it when I was in Toronto. I remember in the 80s. God, I don't even remember. I remember taking a picture. I think it was Massey Hall. And that was it. I was just trying to get an interview with Burton Cummings back then. We're supposed to get Randy Bachman on Monday, but I don't think it's going to happen because we haven't confirmed yet. 29th Monday?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll be able to get Randy before Christmas. He's such a great interview. Man, what an interesting guy. He's one of the most interesting men on the planet. Well, I've interviewed him twice. I think I told you before, he came into the studio live on the air, and I went, you can't really do much. I was recording it when he was live, and I said, Randy, you really can't do much with. He said, Neil Young and I are going to see the Shadows and the reunited Shadows in England when we come back. This is quite a few years ago. When we come back, here's my home number. Here's my cell or whatever he gave me. And I called him and he answered. And he said, sure, let's schedule it. Nice guy.
Matt says, happy holidays, everyone from Dallas.
Hey, Dallas, Texas. Never been to Dallas, want to go. Love to visit Texas. Such a beautiful state. I've been to Arizona, way down there. I've been to Utah briefly, and Nevada, but we never made it to.
Well, I have to admit that when we lived on the west, the West Coast, we'd focus more on the states that were below us. Yeah. And now that we're in the far East Coast, we're like, oh yeah, Maine. We're close to Maine, we're close to New York.
Yeah.
So there's different ones that we're at. Yeah, so it's interesting because it's a whole different perspective.
Massachusetts, here we come next summer.
So
going to Boston.
A whole different scope for sure.
Yeah, because in the beginning, we slowly, remember when we were younger, we'd go to Washington a lot, Bellis Fair Mall in Bellingham, and then we'd go to Seattle. Remember we took our first trip to Seattle. I'd been to Seattle a few times. You traveled more in the U.S. than I had when we met. And then we'd go to California, Portland, Oregon, and then California. Yeah, and then we'd slowly go to Nevada. And that's cool. Love the U.S.
Matt says, come on down. You can stay at my place. Thank you, Matt. Very
Thank you.
kind. Ben says, when living in the West, did you ever visit Idaho?
No. I was being in Alberta. When I lived in Edmonton, I went to Montana. We were going through the Cypress Hills area. And I was interviewing, I remember I interviewed Philip Alberg, if anyone knows the Windham Hill label. Phil's from Montana. He's probably my favorite piano player from that ilk, from that new age Windham Hill style. And he was telling me all about Montana, and I thought, gotta go.
Rob says, hi, John and Shannon. Have you ever been to Europe?
No, never left the continent. Neither one of us. We're going to do it, though.
It's on our bucket list.
Where can we stay? Whose place
It's on our bucket list, but of course it's been interesting with COVID. It kind of really, pushes things back a notch.
Our parents went to Rome a few years ago, and the first thing they said, more than how beautiful it was and historic it was, and how you feel like you're literally on a different planet when you're there, they said, it's expensive. Rome is so expensive, they said.
Getty says, I'm still very upset, disappointed that Guess Who and BTO are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And Bachman Cummings wrote some fantastic R&R classics that are fresh 50 years later.
But I saw something with Randy Bachman saying that somehow, you got to remember, it might have been Burton. And I saved it, I haven't read it yet, that said that you have to understand we were bigger in Canada than we were in the United States, but they were big in the United States. So I think it's a matter of time. I think it'll happen.
And John says, come to...
That's our daughter, by the way. She's having a rock and roll time.
Oh, yes.
Hi, Danica. Say hi. Love you. Dada. Yeah, she said she doesn't know who to say hi to because she's saying hi to the screen. She probably thought it was Nana.
John says, come to North Carolina. We've got the best of both worlds. Beautiful mountains and great beaches. That sounds inviting.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, people have asked me, and before even Shannon got on, like, would ask me, say, well, you know, you probably have a place to stay. I said, you know, but it's really an awkward situation. I wouldn't want to stay at someone's. I think if I would have been back when I was single, I'd get in the car and just ride off by myself. I think I follow my nose. And you were more of a, like, going with a group of people because you go to Mexico. I've never been to Mexico. I've still not been to Mexico.
Well, Rob says you have to visit the Netherlands. Yes, I'd love to go there.
Yes, that'd be great. Yeah, there's a lot of places we want to go to, and one of the reasons we did the YouTube channel, and well, in the beginning it was a hobby, right? And Shannon wasn't involved back then. But I all of a sudden started growing and growing, and I went, you know, I think, and then they told me you can monetize your channel. And I was that ignorant. I went, what? I can actually make money? Yeah, well, what can I make? And you'd make a little bit. You'd make like $300 at the most back then a month, right? We still don't make a lot, but we make enough to be able to work out of our house.
And it'd be nice, actually, you were talking about doing some podcasts. You said that's something that you want to get started on.
We have done it, but someone had said, well, you must be doing really well with your podcast. And going, I'm doing same thing with the podcast as I did with the channel. I'm going, you have enough views. Why don't you get a sponsor? I'm going, yeah, I'll look for one. Sure. I guess I can look for, not that we certainly don't have like loads of money, but it's just I have problems changing my vision. So I'm going to get my 18-year-old son. Yes, he just turned 18. They're both November kids. And I shouldn't call him a kid.
And he's got some great ideas. These young guys, they got some really, really good ideas.
Yeah, they know what's going on. I noticed my last, the last one we had, we were at, a lot of people were, you know what they were doing? They were saying, hey, my favorite concert was, what was yours? So I just love it when if you ask a question, you don't have to, but if you can say my favorite or worst concert or whatever question you ask me, it's cool if you tell me what yours was. We're always interested. I got a hangnail. Oh. She usually takes care of all that stuff. Shannon's like the person who makes sure that there's no hairs in the ears and anything, and you're just great about it.
I'm the groomer.
The groomer!
That's right.
Look at that channel in the background. Is
that
still us? Yeah, it's still us.
It's called maintenance. That's basically what that is. And
Not good at that.
Finest.
Not good at that.
Rob says, my first concert was The Who in 1970.
Wow, you saw The Who when they were like The Who. Yeah. Back then. I'm embarrassed to say my first Who album was not things like Who's Next or anything. It was Who Are You? I was 17 or 18 when it was released. I loved it. Still my favorite Who album because they weren't my ilk at the time, even though I knew most of the songs because all my friends had Who albums. So I knew all the songs, but they weren't necessarily my favorite band. I still like Who Are You a lot.
And Rob says, with support act, Golden Earring.
Wow.
That's bad.
What a show, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, thank you for anytime any of you want to share, if you ask a question, if you have an answer to that for yourselves, it's great because we kind of like want to get to know you a little bit.
And Dave says, happy Thanksgiving and a wonderful holiday season to the whole Beaudin family.
Thank you.
Warm wishes from Dave in South Florida.
Oh,
we wish you well too.
And of course, being in New Brunswick now, most snowbirds in our area, they'll usually head straight down to Florida. I was just telling Shannon the other day, I said, it's interesting, on Facebook we're getting ads, right? Not for Disneyland in California now, all the ads that come up on Facebook, which of course is Disneyland in Florida.
Marty Matthew says, best concert, the Allman Brothers.
Oh, cool.
Band Red Rocks.
Yeah, the Red Rocks.
Worst Blue Oyster Cult, canceled both times I paid for them.
Fleetwood Mac for us.
Fleetwood Mac, we had great seats.
Yeah.
We had really good seats. We were so excited. This was in Vancouver.
Who did they blame? Stevie Nicks or Lindsay? Stevie Nicks, right?
Stevie Nicks.
Yeah. We don't know if it was true.
But we were so thrilled to go.
We were at the door.
Everything. Sitters in place were ready to go.
Yeah. That's our daughter, by the way.
And we were literally at the door.
They said, no, canceled. We went, no. You know, you're in disbelief. What?
Yeah, so that was...
We couldn't compute it. It was so hard for us to... No. It was interesting, though, when what year was it? We both went to Don Henley in Vancouver.
Oh my gosh, that had to have been in...
It's between 90 and 92.
Yeah, I would say so.
Because you were with Roy and I was with Andrea.
The Dawn, it was the...
And not in the Innocence, Inside Job? Was it?
No, it was the end of the... Oh, I can't remember.
End of the Innocence with 89.
I can't remember.
I was coming... Anyway, he was doing a concert and I asked her, where were you sitting with your boyfriend Roy at the time? And she says, kind of in the middle. Where was the stage? She said, the stage was on the left-hand side of me. I said, oh my God, we were in the middle and the stage was on the right-hand side of us.
So him and his girlfriend were in that one. I was with my boyfriend.
So you and Roy were there and me and Andrea were on this side. And little did we know that, who knows, we could have passed each other by. But
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I would have said, wow. She's cute.
Matt says, my first concert was at 9 years old in 1979. BG Spirits having flown tour.
Oh my God. I wonder if they did that actual song. I always go nuts about the title song of that. Spirits Having Flown. If you haven't heard it, the title song by the Bee Gees, to me sounds like a single. It would have been a great idea if they released it. I love that song. It was never released as a single, at least not in North America. But oh my God, I've never seen the Bee Gees. Have you ever seen the Bee Gees?
No.
Wow.
Access 2084 says, best concert was my first concert, Kiss. At the New Haven Coliseum.
Do you know what? Can you
January 1978.
Wow.
I was 10. Seeing Ace up there made me give up drums and take up the guitar.
My God.
That's
a story, huh? You know what? It's the thing, changing the trajectory of your life. You know, because I'm watching the Beatles thing tonight, which is really hard to watch. I'm only like half an hour into part one, and I don't want friction. I know there was friction. It's hard to watch, but it's the Beatles are changing the trajectory of so many people's lives, right? And that would have been, you had a moment like that. Wow.
JT Stark greetings from Cardiff, Wales. First concert was John Mellencamp when he and had his A band with him. Yeah, back in the it would have been the late 80s if you're talking about that. What was the name of the violin player? She was stalked by someone, and I know she had a lot of issues she was dealing with, and I was friends with her on Facebook for a little while. But I remember at that point, like Pink Houses and oh my God, he was on top of the world. Oh, thank you. DM, how's the new house from New Hampshire? Hi DM, thank you for your donation. The new house is really good. It just took a lot. Like, I mean, things like this. Like, can I show? Is this okay, Shannon? Sure. Things like a tray ceiling. Took a lot of painting. A lot of painting. Like, and then we had to change a lot of things in this house. A single guy. Were you expecting that kind of? I don't know what I was expecting, but it was just a lot of maintenance. He didn't do a lot of stuff. Let me just turn this on. William says hello from Alabama. Hi, William. Sorry if I'm not catching everybody as we go along here. Rob says, hard to mention my best concert. Have seen many's, i.e. The Who, Scorpions, Krista Berg, Meatloaf, Deep Purple, Marlon, and of course Sweet. Marillion? Sorry, I have my glasses on. That's and of course Sweet. Oh yeah, I'm always getting called about Marillion. Do stuff on Marillion. And Ben says the Yes concert I went to was for the 90125 record. Oh, cool. Yeah. First concert, John says, is Foghat, open for the Edgar Winter Group. Slow ride, take it easy. Look at all your... That's a lot of comments tonight. Tim P. First concert at 10 years old, Led Zeppelin, Edmonton Gardens, 1969. My oldest brother got stuck babysitting me. Only way he could go was to take a little brother along. Still have my ticket stub at $3.50. That is nuts.
That is cool.
Isn't that cool? Hey, Chase, say hi, Mr. Cool Dude.
I'm wearing my glasses right now, but hello.
That's Chase. He was drumming like a crazy guy a while ago. Be careful of the thing. That is pretty cool, Tim. That's definitely a story. You win. You win the internet tonight. Okay, let me just... Sorry about this. I'm just trying to get to... Where are you going? No, I just didn't know. I thought you were doing some mixing here. 21 for JTS. First concert, Corey Hart, 1984. I was 8.
Best concert, U2.
We were wearing sunglasses that night.
That's right.
Corey is, he's maintained a pretty good career. Left for a little while.
Yeah, but he actually has.
Yeah.
Rob again says, forgot to mention Pink Floyd.
Oh, wow. Favorite Corey Hart story. A lot of you might know who, I don't know, might not know who Jesse Cook is. The flamenco guitarist, he was on the Narada label out of Milwaukee, and he's still around doing incredibly well. He's ready to release a new album. I'm going to record him. I'm going to interview him again. So he met his wife. I said, well, did you know, when you met your wife, did you know right away? Because I remember meeting up with Jesse Cook on Granville Island once, and I just interviewed him, and we ran into him on Granville Island. We were just doing a TV thing with him, and I was trying to start this TV show. And he was having a fight with his then girlfriend. And I was trying to figure out if he's still with her. So I'm kind of going, I wonder if he's still with that girl that he had this fight, because everyone has fights with their girlfriend. And I kind of caught him off guard because I'm going, hi, and I could tell they were not having a good time. So I wanted to ask him, I wonder, like I said, I wonder if he's still with her. So I said, okay, when did you meet your wife and how was it? So he tells me this story, which is a Corey Hart story. He's at the Juno Awards, which is a Canadian version of the Grammys. And she's a dancer. And she tells me, he says, she tells me, first of all, he tells his manager who's sitting, someone's sitting beside him, he's in like a third row or something. He said, tells his manager, he's single. Who's that girl like one person away from me? And his manager looks at him and says, that's Shania Twain. And went, oh, okay, sure. Because sometimes you don't recognize someone if they're right in front of you. And then he's on there and they give him Dancing Girls at the Juno Awards and they're all sitting around and he notices her right away and that ends up being his wife. But she tells him a story that night that she said, well, I'm backstage and I'm waiting to go on. She says, oh, you thought that was Shania Twain? I got a better story. Sorry, I'm all over the road here like horseshit. But she said, I'm backstage and I'm ready to go on with you and you're not on stage yet and we're just hanging around. And there's this guy backstage and she says, wow, long night for you, isn't it? And he says, yeah. You have to stay a long time after the show's finished? She's asking this guy this. And he says, well, not really. I've just finished my thing. Oh, that's right. I hope you get union wages. And then she finds out later that was Corey Hart. He had just come off stage and she's talking to him. She thinks he's a stagehand. That's my story. It took me a while to get there.
That was
I circled back.
JT Shark wants to know, when will you have the rest of the Lodge interview up?
We were just working on it today. So tomorrow, what we want to do, I mean, everyone's telling me what you should do with your YouTube special, I call it special victims unit, subscription. If you want to have a special subscription, the thing to do when you have an interview, and so many people told me that, what you need to do is when you put all the parts of the interview up, then put the whole interview up after that. But if you're a subscriber, you can get access to it right away. I have problems doing that, so I'm just trying to figure out what to do. John Lodge, though, the whole interview, and part 2 is going up tomorrow.
Mike Kaminsky, first concert, Grassroots, 1981. Best oldest son in Utero?
In Utero, yeah.
Pearl Jam with Buzz Cox opening. That son just turned 18.
Sooner or later, love is gonna get you. I had the Grassroots greatest hits. Man, talk about a band with a lot of different lineups.
Tom Jankowski, first concert, Seals and Crofts in 1976 at the Illinois State Fair.
They were on top of the world.
I was 14, best concert, Chicago and EWF.
You know what? We were just at the Mountain Stadium yesterday, and I was reminding Shannon that a year after that, 77, after your concert, in 77 here, where we just moved, I saw Seals and Crofts with Chilliwack, the Canadian band, opening up. And that's the last time I was in that stadium, because, of course, we just moved here. Isn't that weird? I haven't been in there since I was 17.
That was...
And I'm only 23 now.
What? Of course. JT Shark, my best concert was Moody Blues in Burnaby in the 90s. Last tour was all the core boys, all the core guys. Sorry.
Well, so what's that? That's cool. We were talking about the Moody Blues, and what did you do with, what's the name of the song? Gemini Dream. What did you do with Gemini Dream?
Oh my gosh, when I was like in elementary school, we were in grade 7, and we did a theatrical stage dance routine, and I had a bunch of dancers around me, and I had like a black cape on, and we danced to Gemini Dream.
That's very ELO.
I still remember the song going through my head, and that was like, I even got pictures back then. That was back in the day. That would have been in, how old would I be?
Well, that was the early 80s.
Yeah. Yeah, good times.
Long Distance Voyager and The Present were released back to back. That's a very ELO version of Booty Blues, but that's a great song. John Lodge talks about that song, putting that song together. He was really good. I said, John, you know I'm going to need some sound bites from you. He says, no, I can tell who you are. And it was so nice. It was 2 days before Graham Edge died. It was so weird. So I had to preface every interview, because I've already done the intros and extras, by saying if he talks about Graham Edge in the present tense, it's because it was done 2 days before, just so we don't come off like idiots.
One of the best concerts I've attended was Steely Dan. It was the last tour with Walter Becker.
Oh, wow.
That's from Ben. Getty says, saw Pink Floyd at Olympic Stadium in Montreal on July 6, 1977. More an event than concert. Disconnect with audience inspired The Wall.
Wow. Yeah, I never saw Pink Floyd. I had a chance to see them without Roger Waters. The whole Waters era was so important to me. And don't get me wrong, David Gilmour is my favorite member, even though Roger was integral in getting all, Dark Side of the Moon and especially The Wall out. But I always thought The Wall should have been, I know it's sacrilegious to say this, a single album.
Kent says, first concert for me was Lou Reed, Gothenburg, 1973.
Oh, wow. He was on top of the world then, yeah.
Lucinda says, happy Thanksgiving, John and Shannon.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Hi. And DM is asking, what does ride my seesaw mean?
I don't think I asked. I might have. I don't think I asked. The problem with my brain and remembering things like that, sometimes I just go in I sometimes go in automatic pilot, and I'm thinking of the next question. And there's always a part of me that's going, but I don't think he told me. Maybe. I don't know.
Getty says, best double bill, Styx backing up Bad Company. Montreal audience loved Styx.
Wow. I don't know who opened for Styx when I saw them. I don't know who opened up for them. I don't know if anybody did. I don't remember.
JT says, too bad Pinder and the rest of the Moodies still had friction due to Pinder's comment and actions.
Yeah, we didn't go into it. He mentioned him a few times, but that was it. It was a short interview, and it was supposed to be 15 minutes, and I'm lucky sometimes. I asked for the last interview of the day. Knowing his age, sometimes by asking the last interview, you're going to get someone who's tired. I don't know how many more interviews he had. I didn't want to waste time asking him. But I specifically asked, make sure I'm the last interview, in case I could go a little longer, and we ended up going 45 minutes, I think, again.
Access, I'll never forget NRBQ from the side of the stage in 1979. Big Al, lead guitarist, signed my first guitar.
Oh, wow. That's the thing about signing guitars. I've never had one signed. Never asked. I'm not a guitarist, I'm a drummer. The thing is with radio guys, we went from trying to be really cool backstage, especially with the Toto guys. When I was backstage with the Toto guys, I didn't want to say, you'd never dare go, oh my God, I love you so much. Even though I'd interviewed them so many times, I wouldn't do that anyway. But you got to be cool, because they want to have someone to talk to, and that's not a fan. They don't want to have, oh, I just love you so much.
Angel says, good evening from Orlando, Florida. I saw Lou Reed in New York City back in 1985.
Wow. Suzanne Vega had agreed to an interview, and she knew Lou Reed very well. Elliot Murphy, I talked to him, who was in the New York scene, now moved to France. And Elliot had said that, he says, yeah, Lou was a mercurial personality. It's the first time I heard someone, because that's not a nice thing to say about someone. He says, but I'm not saying that. He says, but a lot of people have said that, because he was all hot or all cold, right? He was he ran with a different engine, let's just say. Anyway, Suzanne Vega, I've got to contact her manager, because I never did, and I can do that now.
214 JTS, any stories of
Stephen Sondheim,
who recently passed?
I was going to do a thing on Stephen Sondheim, and I was just talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and he said, well, that's not really your lane. But looking back, I should have done something, because I was familiar with his work, and he was a huge, like one of the icons in music. But I didn't. So after a while, if you don't do it right away, you get lost in the shuffle of so many. And that was last night. So I regret not doing it. But I was incredibly busy with another project that I can't really talk about right now. So.
Ernesto says, is radio still relevant for rock music?
I think so. I don't know. It's hard to tell. Like for instance, the radio station I work for in Vancouver, Move 103.5, we switched to Christmas music right after Remembrance Day. And judging from, I mean, that's Christmas music. That's not rock music. But I remember every year I'm always surprised by the joy it brings so many people. And when I was running my own station, which I switched to Christmas music in Calgary at Cal 103, and when I switched to it, people would complain in the beginning because it was right after Remembrance Day as well. Meanwhile, I was still working for the station in Vancouver. And I would tell everyone when they call up, oh, you know, I know you don't like it right now, it's a little early for you, but you know it's going to become a better idea as we get closer to Christmas with every day. And they always go, oh yeah. When it comes to rock music, the problem with rock stations, if it's current rock, I don't listen to those stations. But if it's classic rock, the 80s are now classic rock, which bothered some people. But the 80s and sliding into the 90s, it has to be classic rock. I mean, the demo's getting older. I think it still is. There's just so many different ways of getting your treat. Sorry, I turned into a Christmas story there, but I just wanted to say that.
DM says, I hope Bryan Adams is doing well.
Yeah, COVID twice. Did you hear that?
Oh, I did. Like in a short time.
In like a month. Like, I don't know how that can be. It's not, I mean, not necessarily that he's not being careful, because you can have some bad luck. I never read the story. I was going to do something on it on the Canadian channel, but right now with the Canadian channel, we're working with Colin James, getting his videos out. Christopher Ward, a lot of up-and-coming Canadian artists, which the Canadian channel does. This channel does not do that. This channel sticks with classic rock mostly.
Rob says, as far as is radio still relevant for rock music, he says it sure is. I do a show in the Netherlands, which is also on the internet. We do have 160 million to 200 million listeners.
Oh wow! And send us a link.
Please do.
You can always have more.
Yes. Lucinda says it kind of seems like the ABBA reunion landed with a silent thud. What do you think?
It's not, you know, it's strange where the sales didn't back it up. I don't know why. I never really looked at it that carefully as much as you were later, the last two albums, like the Super Trooper stuff. I wasn't into the last two albums, even though they were huge at the time, and I can understand where they went musically. It was a little different. But I mean, I had all the albums leading up to, I think Arrival's the last one I got. What's the blue one? What's that one? There's Voulez-Vous. I didn't have that one either. By that time, I'd kind of given up. So when it came forward, I remember I had the new song. One of the new songs sound like I Had a Dream. I remember thinking, that sounds like I Had a Dream, but then they go off into another thing. The first two new songs, one of the two. I loved ABBA, but I have to admit, I've never listened to the album.
Tim P says, while stationed in Germany from 88 to 94, I saw Roger Waters do The Wall in Berlin, July 90, with 650,000 people. What a party.
Roger Waters, wow.
That's...
One of the guys from Pablo Cruz toured with Roger Waters. Who else did I talk to? Trying to think of someone else who had known him or toured with him. Just said he's an intense guy, but he just really knows his stuff, knows what he wants, has visions of things in his head so clearly sometimes. I love hearing stuff like that.
JT Shark says, I love Collins James Records. Always thought he should have been bigger.
He's trying right now by touring in the U.S. So it was really nice. He gave me an interview. He was really late. No, it wasn't. He wasn't really late. We couldn't get connected very well. And so we were having a lot of technical problems. So he wasn't late. He was on time. And then he said, listen, man, his manager got a hold of me via him and said, anytime you want, we can do a longer interview. And we did one, I think, for over an hour, I think. The second interview is on Rock History Canada right now, by the way. The whole second interview. We put that as the first one because that's when you can see him. The first one, you can't see him. It's just a lot of B-roll playing. So we're going to put that up next week.
I agree though, JT. I like Colin James for sure.
Yeah.
I definitely grew up with him. It was big
yes.
in my era for
yes.
sure.
And he talks about his first album with he has a different take on his first album. It's not like he doesn't like it, but he has regrets about it a little bit. And he didn't want to sound ungrateful because that was a big album, the biggest seller for him. But it's an interesting thing he talked about. Check out the interview.
Rob says, I was there too in Berlin seeing Roger Waters.
Wow.
That's pretty impressive. DM, Roger says what he thinks, which I can appreciate.
Yeah, he gets a lot of flack for that, but if you're going to say what you think, and specifically, I mean, he's political. And if you do that, you'll always get, you're polarizing your audience. So it's one of the reasons we don't get political on this channel. I mean, obviously, I'm not a big Trump fan, but I don't herald that. People don't need to hear that. And it's that, I want to be true to myself, but at the same time, that's not why I'm here. I'm not on this channel to be political. And when people, when we've had, when everyone dies, people say, oh, you must have the poke. I'm going, yeah, we're not going to put that comment on. That doesn't help anybody. Just, you think someone died. And that, to me, that's like an ignorant comment. But besides that, pretty much, you're allowed to be honest on this channel.
Marty's asking, didn't Waters get married recently again?
No. If he did, I didn't hear about it. And we don't really report on that kind of stuff. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with reporting that, but that's not, entertainment shows talk about stuff like that.
Lucinda says Eric Johnson would be a great interview. What a great guitarist.
Yeah, we used to play. I remember there was a show I did, and there was this gorgeous instrumental, and I've got to go on Spotify, find out what it was. Someone had sent it to me, I remember, and I played it on my show when I was doing kind of like more progressive jazzy rock stuff. And I still don't know what that song is. I'd have to look. I could probably find it in a playlist. I'd like to share it.
Rob says, yes, that blues album from ABBA is called Voulez-Vous.
Yeah, the Blue Album, yeah.
Hike with Mike, hey folks.
Hike with Mike,
hey. Hi, welcome.
Check out Hike with Mike's channel.
Art Matter says, hi guys, giving new music a shout out, Future Islands, War on Drugs, check them out.
Oh, cool, thank you. There's really good music out there. Unfortunately, I get bombarded with a lot of it. And I say unfortunately because most of the time I don't have time because I'm so busy. If I do an interview, 3 hours, sometimes 2 if I know the artist really well. Never less than that. I like just immerse myself in everything. I'll share your questions because we always ask. And I don't listen to new music a lot because I'm always going, okay, we got to do John Lodge now. We got to go back and...
You've got your file.
Oh my, I've got so many files. Got to promote the channel. How are we going to do that? Don't have time for that,
Rubicon, 1983. You guys both seem like really beautiful people inside and out. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's very kind of you.
Robert Foss. John, truly enjoy your show and your interviews.
Thank you.
Special shout out to longtime Beach Boy band member Billy.
Henshey?
Of course.
I don't know.
Billy was a neighbor of mine here in Henderson.
Oh, wow.
Godspeed, my friend Billy.
Oh. You ever interview anyone in the band Klaatu? All 3. John Woloschuk, Terry Draper, and Dee. We've got all 3. I'm just having this, I'm just overwhelmed with that interview. Nothing to do with all 3. Terry, John, and Dee were great. They gave me the time. John wouldn't come on camera, but I knew he wouldn't because he doesn't have the technology and he doesn't really have a cell phone. And he's really stayed away from it. I will say one thing about John, who contributed quite a bit to Klaatu. I said, John, I said this before on this channel. I said, I'm gonna throw something out here. I said, listen, I had all the Klaatu albums except maybe their last one. And I really studied them back then. And I knew it wasn't the Beatles. I could tell it wasn't the Beatles. Some people thought it was the Beatles. Of course. But when I listened to everything with fresh ears, John, I have a feeling you haven't released a solo album or done anything because you put so much of yourself in that band. After that, you were done. And he says, bingo. He said, that's exactly it. After all that, there was just nothing left of me. He says, I'm not saying never say never, but... And he just thought that way. He said, "That's just." So I've got all 3 interviews. I got to put them together. It's like herding cats. I should have interviewed them together, but you get 3 hours if you do them separately, as opposed to getting 20 minutes sometimes or half an hour with all 3. So I have to do that. Chase was just bugging me. Said we got to put the Klaatu special together. Of course. I should just put them up separately. That's what I meant. Sorry, Shannon. So that's what I meant. I want to do, hey, let's talk about people thinking you're the Beatles. Okay, let's put him. Now let's put Dee on. Let's put John on. Let's put Terry. And Terry's just released a new album, by the way.
Tim P says, what are your thoughts on the Beatles documentary film?
It's hard to watch. What's your thoughts? I'm only 20 minutes in the first part. I just watched it tonight. and I'm just, watching that beginning part where Paul's, putting together, they're all putting together, I Got a Feeling, and it's weird hearing the songs. That's why I like box sets, but I don't use box sets for what box sets are for, which is listening to songs in the formation, early versions. And it's Two of Us, which I love. I love Let It Be. I love that album because of the rawness of it. And it shows such a different side to the Beatles. But I find it hard to watch because I know they're going to get in disagreements. I find it hard watching Yoko being there. I just keep going, go away, just leave them be. But I know John needed her there. Or she needed to be there right?
DM is asking, ever hear of Platinum Blonde? Alex L. produced an album, Alien Shores, which was a Rush song as well. Yeah. Platinum Blonde.
Yeah, we know Platinum Blonde.
I saw Platinum
Blonde.
We're
Canadian.
I saw them in concert in Kelowna when I was in my teens.
God.
Yes, I remember Platinum Blonde.
What's that song? Something in the Dark. Remember?
My gosh, I can't even think of something.
Yeah, well, you guys will know. Something, was it?
What was what?
I
just went blank.
I never interviewed Platinum Blonde. I thought they were a good band. They were just not my kind of band, but they did well. Yeah. I haven't thought of them in a while.
Getty says, interview possibility, Miles Goodwin, April Wine, native of Woodstock, New Brunswick.
That's right.
Goodwin had recent concert dates in the Maritimes. Is he still based in Montreal?
No, he's not in Montreal anymore. I talked to Jim Henman on not a regular basis. Jim was on a basis, get it? Because he was the first bassist on a regular basis. Anyway, he had told me to interview Miles again, because I've interviewed him before, in studio, not in studio, in a hotel, what do you call it, reception area. I interviewed Jerry Mercer, who was with them at the time, the great drummer, the second drummer, the best drummer. Brian Greenway, Jim Clench, who passed away, and Miles Goodwin. Miles was dealing with some alcohol problems at the time, so he's a little grumpy, but he was nice. He gave me a good interview. So Jim Henman reached out to me. He says, maybe you want to reach out to, I never did though. I will. I should. They're my favorite Canadian band. I think Miles Goodwin is one of the most underrated singer-songwriters in the history of Canadian music. Miles Goodwin's gold to me.
Tom is asking, have you heard of the girl singer Adele? I hear she's pretty good. Have you heard 30? And what do you think?
It's kind of like saying, there's this band called the Beatles.
And what do you think?
You think you're going to get anywhere? We've got it on our PVR.
We you know what? I watched her
I didn't want to.
I watched her concert, and she was, he didn't really want it. She was amazing.
Oh, wow.
She was amazing. It was just like,
That proposal was a little hokey, but still cute.
I thought it was really sweet, right?
Yeah. She was, I love the bride. I thought the bride was so cool.
I love stuff like that.
If they
What was the funniest thing she said? I've only been waiting 7 years.
Yeah.
It was cute. Yeah.
Really. She was really cute though. The bride, she was you just wanted to hug her.
But yeah, she was top notch.
Yeah,
really.
Her voice is amazing.
And it was the first time that her son had actually to come here,
seen her perform.
Watch her perform, so yeah.
And the only thing, what's that song I can't stand? Rumor has it. Rumor has it. I'm going, stop it. Stop saying that.
They're all good. All the songs are good.
Except that one.
And I guess on the 19th, her new album officially came out on November, so.
She's one of the newer artists that I like. Dua Lipa I like a lot more. But Dua Lipa can't sing like Adele. I think Dua Lipa is just because she's really cute.
Of course.
Ernesto, what do you think about Eric Clapton vaccine protest song?
I think that it's just kooky, but listen, I'd like to say he's allowed to think that way, but thinking that way is destructive. People have been getting vaccines for how long now, and people go around saying, no, they just formed this. Like, come on, they've had the groundwork for these kind of vaccines for a long time. They've got to, it's just, anyway, let's leave it at that. I wonder what Paul Carrick thinks, because I interviewed Paul Carrick a little while when he tours with him. So I've toured, Nathan East I interviewed twice. I'm trying to think, back in my smooth jazz days. I didn't ask him about Toto, I couldn't believe it. Then I emailed him and I said, I can't believe I didn't ask you about Toto. He says, you're lost, buddy, maybe next time. He was so cute. Nathan, Nathan's a good guy, he's a good guy.
JT says,
I don't think Nathan plays with him anymore, but anyway, I'm sorry, Shannon.
JT says, have you ever interviewed Alana Miles? I ran into her many years ago, and our meeting was interesting to say the least. She was staying in the hotel I managed.
No. You got to share.
JT,
One,
you got to share.
You got to share. No, you got to say this. Okay. I interviewed Christopher Ward. We haven't put it up. I kind of lost it in a hard drive. We just found a hard drive with about 10 interviews, mostly Canadian, that I haven't had a chance to put up yet. And Christopher Ward was one of them. Christopher Ward co-wrote Black Velvet with Alana Miles. In the beginning, he was only interested in her in that kind of way. And anyway, so he goes to her back. They go out. And they says, "Want to come back to my place?" And Christopher Ward says this on tape. He says, "Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, okay, we're going back." She goes back to her place, and she says, "Well, I'm just gonna go in the back for a second. I'll be right back." And he's going, "Ooh, she's freshening up. This is kind of cool." She comes out with a guitar, and they start. He went, "Oh well, that's okay." And I think that was the extent of their dating, but they ended up probably not that night, but co-writing Black Velvet. So, and Christopher Ward was a VJ. There's a story for you. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it.
Art says my fave, the White Album. Great late night listening.
Yeah, by the Beatles. Yeah. People hate it when I and DJs have been doing it for forever. The self-titled 75, 76 album by Fleetwood Mac. A lot we used to call it the White Album. The Fleetwood Mac's White Album, we used to say. But the White Album is one of my favorite Beatles albums.
Rob says, John, you have to check out the Canadian band Heads in the Sky. They only released 2 LPs in the early 80s, but if you like Pink Floyd, it's a must-have.
Oh, cool. Can I? Okay. We're on camera right now. That was your mother.
I just bumped Nana off.
We have to bump Nana off.
Toot says, hey, John and Shannon. I didn't know if my mom wanted to be on filming
all over the world.
Well, it's funny because I was telling her we were gonna go on last night because she always calls me at nighttime, different time change there, and I didn't bother to tell her we're going on tonight, so calling at our usual time.
Hi, Mom.
So I just hung up.
Her mom's really cute.
She is the best. Tom says, yeah, I thought so. She's awesome.
Who's that? Alana Miles?
Yes.
Oh, what about Alana Miles? Where's the Alana Miles story?
Marty says, Adele is a beautiful singer, but for me, a little too depressing. I couldn't listen to a full album.
She does have that effect on people because it is songs about... Because she made a joke about that. Did someone make a joke about the fact that here they are getting married on her show and all her songs are about breakups? Taylor Swift is like that too, and I'm not into Taylor Swift's music whatsoever. But you like what you like, right? You're never wrong with what you like.
Tim says, hey John, anything coming up in the new year we can look forward to on the channel?
Absolutely nothing. We've got some interviews coming up. If we do Randy Bachman, it'll be before Christmas, and we'll air that before Christmas. And like I said, there's like 10 interviews, Canadian interviews. We're finally going to get the Loverboy Mike Reno thing up. But we're going to put that probably on the Canadian channel. The Canadian channel needs help. It's almost making money. It's got, I think, 1,100 subscribers, but not enough hits. And it's hard to start a new channel, but I didn't want to put a lot of unknown Canadian artists on this channel, considering we don't put a lot of unknown American artists on this channel. So we just thought we'd have our own channel. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, DM.
Thanks, DM.
Ever hear Mira Formica?
No, I don't know who that is.
Unbelievable talent. I haven't.
Cool. The good thing about when you super chat, we can always find it very easily after that. Not that you have to give us a donation.
Hike with Mike says, ever interview Alanis Morissette? I love the Jagged Little Pill. I did too. That was a great album.
I would have been you.
It was.
The album after that, I remember I'd been reviewing for a magazine in Vancouver for a little while, actually making money writing reviews, and I forget the album. What was the album after that? Thank You was on it. Thank You. No, it didn't go like that. And I gave that a favorable review. I remember loving it. Jagged Little Pill was a little too jagged, a little too harsh for me. And then I went back, and you ought to know I've never really liked that song. That has a Zeppelin kind of out of time, sort of loosey goosey feel to it. Like not that it sounds like rock and roll, but it gave me that kind of out of step sort of. I never liked it.
Swede Savage says, John, your interview with Rick Emmett was epic. Thanks so much.
More to come. I think we've got 3 more going into December 3rd. One, I don't know if one was released tonight. I haven't looked because on weekends sometimes we're too busy working to see what's being released because we time them out. Like right now there's 8. The whole, on the Canadian channel, the whole Colin James interview is up there, part 1. And they're all stacked on the Canadian channel, ready to go.
DM says, do you like Sade? I have a DVD concert. She's intriguing. She doesn't do interviews because they want to put her in a genre box.
I didn't know she didn't do interviews. I never had a chance to interview as far as I know.
I liked her when I was growing up.
Yeah.
Very much.
I think a lot of people do. Emma, my friend Emma, whose dad was Eddie Harding, who replaced Steve Winwood in the Spencer Davis group, she said that she was in a studio or knew someone who had her in a studio. This is a few years old, this story. And they said, she said they were all saying she was tone deaf. I'm going, no, how can that be? She wouldn't be able to perform live if she was tone deaf. But I remember thinking that story was just weird, didn't make any sense. But I'd have to ask Emma again what exactly that's.
Oh.
I mean, she couldn't perform live. They'd know.
JT jumped in. I think this was about Alana Smiles.
Yep.
She failed my Mick Jagger, Diana Ross rule. Both stayed when I worked at the Hilton in London. My rule, if you cause me more headache than them, you gotta be bigger than them. She failed my rule.
What did she do? I know she was, for anyone who, and I don't know Chantal Kreviasek, who's married to Rain, what's his name, the guy from Our Lady Peace, Rain Mate? I have to get his name. I shouted at him once because he wouldn't get out of my way in a hallway. I didn't know it was him. I was at a radio station and he was standing there after an interview and I said, excuse me, and I had to get by because I had to tell something to the news guy. And he's just standing there. He's really wrapped up into the conversation. That's fine. I've never met the guy. I don't know. And I said, excuse me. And they're all there and they won't get it. I said, hello, I got to get by you. And I turn around and it's the lead singer of Our Lady of Peace. And we're okay. But Jeff Woods, who's one of my all-time favorite classic rock announcers, in his book, he described Chantal Kreviasek as precious. And I never got around to asking him why that is. I'd heard some stories that she's a little difficult, she's a little high maintenance. And I heard some stories about Lana Miles too, but I think sometimes, I've done some things when I was in my early 20s and even 30s and I'm not proud of. And nothing to get arrested, by the way. Go on.
Bob's Place says, beautiful home, Shannon and John. Happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas.
Happy Thanksgiving, Merry Christmas.
Tom says, come to Iowa. And we have corn and corn, just corn.
We'll be there for corn, by the way. But I don't want to surprise you, but we'll be asking for the corn. Do you ever see that skit on Saturday Night Live when they're cooking crab? Zoe, is it Zoe Deschanel? We got crab. We got a lot of crab. We got so much crab. We're going there for corn. We have a lot of corn.
Rob says, hey John, you still not grabbed a pen and paper to write down some questions people asked.
No, but we can come back and look at this. Oh, someone gave us a super chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucinda.
Thanks,
Gotta
Lucinda.
go, guys, but wishing all the Beaudins a wonderful Christmas in your new home and a very happy and healthy 2022.
Thank you,
Lucinda.
That's so
Thank you
kind
so
of
much. That's
Take
very
good care of
thoughtful.
yourself. Appreciate it. That's really nice of you. I think there was a whole bunch of other ones too.
Jeff Hansen said, hi, I'm late. Hi, John and Shannon.
Hi.
Hi, Jeff. Welcome.
Hi, Jeff.
Getty says, Randy Bachman's Vinyl Tap radio show on CBC was fantastic. Great to hear occasional reruns on CBC Radio 1 on Sirius XM.
He is one of the classiest people I've ever interviewed and one of the most interesting human beings. I'd want to hang out with the guy. I just want to hang out and, and with those, like I told you, if you ever want to hang out with someone you love, you have to bite your tongue as opposed to, if you know something they like. When I met Bernie Perrant, my favorite hockey player of all time, because I've only been a goalie. I've never played another position in my life. And I played for 9-10 years, I forget. The first thing I asked him was deer hunting. I've never killed an animal in my life. I mean, that's not my thing. But I know a lot of hunters, and that's what they do. Hunters hunt. And I asked him, because I read his book in school, and I asked him about deer hunting, and how's it going, what kind of rifle he had, what was his favorite. Not about hockey, not one thing, because he knows who he is. And we had a really nice conversation. I mean, I'm not a hunter, But at the same time, I had a man-to-man, and there's that picture I showed in the last, that last thing we had of me and Bernie, and he's got big hands, shaking hands. I love Bernie Perrant. He's my man.
Eric D says, I want to know, how did you get in contact with Badfinger's personal photographer?
Well, he contacted me. Christian got a hold of me. Christian actually emailed me a few days ago. A few weeks ago. He got a hold of me, and it just broke his heart, when you lose 2 members to suicide like that, it's just weird. And that's the band with the worst luck in the world. Worst luck. But he contacted me.
Course.
Teddy Bates says, happy holidays to the Beaudin
Hey,
family.
Teddy Bates.
Blessings and love. Thank you so much,
Teddy. How you doing, man?
Appreciate that.
It's nice to be out here just hanging out a little bit. Shannon, I said, Shannon, I'm going to go do a thing downstairs. And I never ask her because I always want to make sure she's okay with it. Because we just went to Costco.
I'm coming to hang in.
Yeah, thank you. So we're going to go and wind things up. We don't like to stay past an hour. We don't want to wear out our welcome. It's been a heck of a trip getting out here, we didn't have a job to go to. We moved on our own. It wasn't a cheap situation, but you guys know that. You've all made moves sometimes without, I'm sure some of you have done that. In our case, it was across the country. It was a big move. We've done this a few times, not across country, but we went from Vancouver, where we met in 97, to Calgary in 2002 to get funding for our daughter, who's the one munching over there, making some noise. And that sort of paved the way, don't you think?
It did.
Yeah, for us to be able to do this. Shannon says, BC's too expensive, where they just had a lot of floods, British Columbia. Why don't we go out east and be closer to your brother Charles and your mom? And we're glad we did. But it's a big change. People are different here. They're a lot friendlier. You can't walk the block here without there's no way you can pass by someone without them saying, hi, good morning, good evening.
Oh, so incredibly friendly here.
Yesterday I ran into this woman, Sally. She used to be a school teacher. She said, oh my God, John, I just got to tell you, your wife's so pretty. I said, thanks. She didn't say pretty. She says, your wife's so pretty. She said, but is she not a lot younger than you? I said, she's 11 years younger than me. She said, oh, okay. Just checking in. Yeah, I'm going, well, you can't cheat the hangman. Soon they'll be saying, oh, look, you brought your dad.
We're so happy to be in New Brunswick.
Yeah.
It's just that the pace is a lot slower.
Yeah.
But it really.
We'll call you back next week.
Course.
We'll call you back next week. It took forever to get we had a retaining wall. It took forever. When the guy came, he did amazing work. Everyone does amazing work.
But it takes a bit of time to get people to respond back to a call or an email. It takes a little bit of time, a little bit of a lag in between.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating, but you gotta go with the punches, as they say.
But we're really happy to be New Brunswickers. Is that what it is?
Excuse
New
me.
Brunswickers, yes.
We have a few more before we say goodbye.
Hi, John and Shan. I enjoy hearing Canadian voices here in the USA. I miss home. Thanks, Getty. Thank you for answering that. Happy holidays to you too, and thank you for the awesome content. That was Eric D. Toot says, snow coming soon, John and Shan. Enjoy. I know. I've heard it's coming pretty quick.
This week.
We're supposed to get our winter tires put on next Thursday. So
well, on her car. She has an SUV. I have a sedan.
Tim says, Bernie Perrant was my idol as a young goalie. I envy you getting to meet him, John. I did meet Jerry Cheevers once.
Jerry Cheevers, yeah. Boston. Now they're selling those masks, right? You can buy the masks now. You can buy the Jerry Cheevers mask with all the little scrapes where every time he got hit. I don't even watch hockey anymore, but I was such a hockey fanatic back then. I wanted to get a replica a Jacques Plante mask that Bernie wore. I have a Fiber Sport mask, the smaller one that they sold for like in supermarkets, and I have the Philadelphia Blazers flame that Bernie had when he was with the Philadelphia Blazers on it. I should bring it out one of these days. I still have my goalie pads. I still have my catcher and blocker. I think I don't have my skate. I never had goalie skates, so I never kept my skates, so couldn't afford them.
Ben says, John, will you be relearning French? Yeah, John, will you be relearning French?
No.
I don't speak French. I just speak English.
I can understand French, but French people, as most of you know, speak too fast. So when I was the one in my family, and I hate to say the story, I was the one in my family because I was a middle child who spoke English when I knew I had to get rid of I didn't know I didn't have to do that, but at the time, being a young kid in grade 6, I thought, oh, if I want to lose the accent and be a broadcaster, where that's when I decided to be one, I thought I have to stop speaking English so I don't have a French accent. Little did I know I didn't have to do that. I just had to work on it. I could have spoke both languages. So, so my family started speaking French to me, and I didn't. What are you signaling here? Are you giving her signals?
No,
she's giving our daughter signals.
I'm just saying.
She's going like this. I'm going, what is she doing down here? So I stopped speaking French in a family as a middle child. That didn't go down very well, but now they kind of forgave me for that. Anyway.
And I always thought that I only had English, but I actually have a second language because I know some sign language as well with Danica over the years. So that would have taken a few courses as well.
If you would have not answered that, I would have gone, what? I would have gone, what? What other language? But that is a language. Yeah.
It's definitely.
Okay.
Hike with Mike, good night. Great live stream as usual.
Thank you.
Good
Thought we'd do
night.
more Christmassy tonight.
And Mike says, ALS cool. Yeah, it's definitely. And it's interesting because depending on which parts you live in, it has sort of different dialect for sign language. So it's kind of interesting.
Just
whether
like
you be out west, out east, yeah, it changes. For
just
sure.
like living in England. England's probably the best example for me because my first wife, my favorite wife, I always say.
Great.
She's friends with my first.
It's always
wife.
great to be second in.
No, you're my first wife and my second wife get along actually very well. I'll say it one more time. I always say this. When Lynn met Shannon, she says, "Good luck holding on to her." I'm going, "What the hell?"
What are you, chopped liver?
She says, "She's way better looking than you." I'm going, "Oh yeah." I said, "Well, I'm your ex-wife. I'm supposed to say stuff like that." So anyway, and I don't think Lynn watches our things anyway. She wouldn't mind me saying that. We gotta go.
Bye. Thank you so much for your questions, comments. We'll be on again next week.
JT Shark, we gotta say.
The best part of living in the UK is the fact that so many different accents out there.
My ex-wife
Right.
Lynn, that's what I was beginning to say. She was from Manchester, and I didn't know that till I met them in '79. I said, "What? There's a lot of dialects," and I was ignorant. I didn't know, but yeah, there are a lot.
Tim says, call Nana.
Call Nana. We're gonna call Nana.
I'm going to call Nana right now.
See you guys. Love you guys.